Here's one not for the kids from 1974. Neon Eagle Video brings us Zero Woman, Red Handcuffs. This is a pinky violence, I think they would call it in Japan, film. 70s Japanese sleazy exploitation action film based on a manga, and it is 86 minutes. This is a Blu-ray we're talking about, directed by Yukio Noda, stars the titular Zero Woman is Miki Sugimoto, and the only other recognizable face for me, or probably for Western audiences, is Tetsurô Tanba, who was better known as Tiger Tanaka from the James Bond film You Only Live Twice in 1967, so a few years before this. This is, it's got a super funky score. It's really cool. So the way this film opens, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. The way this film opens is our heroine, Zero Woman, is undercover as a prostitute trying to nail this Caucasian guy. When I say nail, I mean arrest. Trying to arrest this Caucasian guy who has been murdering prostitutes. And he gets her in his clutches and he wants to do really bizarre, perverse things. And she lashes out and winds up killing him in a most fantastical way by her red handcuffs. The titular red handcuffs are two handcuffs separated by a really long red chain that she uses like a ninja weapon. And she winds up killing the guy, gets sent to prison in disgrace, court-martialed, whatever, thrown off the force, sent to prison. And then we go to another thing where these very kind, loving, tender, disgusting criminals severely assault a couple who are out in the country having a lovely time in private and do horrible things to the man, kill him as a matter of fact, and do horrible things to the female and then kidnap her. They find out she is, or was, destined to be the daughter-in-law of a man who's pretty much in line to be the new prime minister of Japan. That's when Zero Woman gets a visit in her cell and is told, if you can infiltrate this gang, kill them all, because we can't let anybody know that this happened. Nobody can talk about what happened to this girl or that she was involved in a kidnapping plan, because it's going to tarnish this prominent Japanese man who might be our next, prime minister or president. If you can do all that, we'll wipe your slate clean. And that becomes what the story of the film is Zero Woman infiltrating this gang who are just horrible, and the horrible things they do to the women in their orbit. This is not a film for tender sensibilities, let's just say that. Japanese cinema, 70s cinema in general, but especially Japanese 70s cinema, had a thing for rape. And I don't know what it is. It's not pleasant. I can see if you're making a rape revenge film, which this to some degree is, you want to have something really awful happen on screen so that the audience just totally is on board with that victim doing whatever they do. Like I Spit on Your Grave, whatever they do to the bad guys. So it's a really gruesome film. It's got some good action in it. It's got some good skewed camera angles. It's got some good foo here and there when I gasped in shock about that. It has some good foo and some good moments of revenge by Zero Woman, but I will say that for the most part, she maintains her cover. So she doesn't do a lot in this movie. She's just kind of there and she's watching and she's waiting and she, tries to take out a baddie when she can in gruesome ways. But overall, it's really more about the dark, shadowy maneuverings that this politician does to make sure nothing reflects poorly on him. And it gets really dark. So I could say it's a fun movie, but it's really kind of grim and gruesome a lot of the time. But it is a good example of the Japanese exploitation cinema of the 70s. Transfer looks great, sounds great. It's not for everybody, shall we say. And the whole red handcuffs thing, she also has a red gun, which is neat, and like a long red coat. So that's where I kind of wondered when I was watching it before I listened to the extras to know more about it. I'm like, is this based on a manga? Because this is a little cartoony, a little comic booky to just be like a straight drama. So crude, violent revenge film. Extras. We have a commentary by film historian Sandegan, who's always great and very informative about the film, and the film in the context of 70s rape revenge cinema and female Japanese cinema and female heroine, as in, hero, heroine cinema. You get Sex and Violence Equals Pinky Violence, Tokyo Scope author Patrick Macias, probably mispronounced that name, on Zero Woman, Red Handcuffs. That's 18 minutes. And then you get a 3-minute image gallery. Now, the disc itself is right here. Really cool, new original art for the front of that. And for the back looks like that. Apparently, there were several sequels made to this film, but they were made like 20 years later. They just cranked out all these straight to video Japanese V cinema that they called them at the time. And then we open it up and we get different original artwork on the disc, which looks really nice, and reversible cover featuring, I believe, the original poster art. So if you're a fan of Japanese exploitation cinema, this is one to pick up. If you're a fan of revenge movies or just wild, weird world cinema, I would recommend from Neon Eagle Video, Zero Woman, Red Handcuffs.